How the rich think about money differently. Let me tell you something that might completely change the way you think about money. Most people never become wealthy because they misunderstand what money actually is. The average broke person thinks about money as a tool that buys a nice car, a bigger house, expensive clothes, or a luxury vacation. The average middle-class person thinks money is something that must be protected at all costs. They save it, guard it, hide it. They work incredibly hard for every dollar, so they become terrified of losing it. But rich people see money differently. They see money as a magnet, not something to spend, not something to hide, but something whose primary purpose is to attract more money. Now you might be thinking, well, that's easy to say when you're already rich. But here's what you don't know. Rich people don't suddenly start thinking differently after they become wealthy. They become wealthy because they started thinking differently before the money arrived. The mindset comes first. The bank account follows. If the way you've been thinking about money hasn't produced the results you want yet, then what exactly do you have to lose by considering a different perspective? I hear people say all the time, "Jafel, I'm already working hard." I believe you. But working hard and thinking like a wealthy person are not the same thing. There are millions of people working extremely hard every single day who never become financially free. And there are people working fewer hours who are quietly building enormous wealth. Why? Because wealth is not just about effort. It's about direction. It's about psychology. It's about how you see opportunities that other people never notice. I don't say this to brag, but I do pretty well financially. I have a growing investment portfolio. I run my company, Jeffel Media. And despite what many people assume, I don't spend money on a lot of unnecessary things. Last year, I finally decided to replace the car I had driven for almost 10 years. I upgraded to a brand new Honda Accord. But something strange happened. Almost immediately after buying that car, I started seeing Honda Accords everywhere. At traffic lights, in parking lots, on the highway. Even my neighbor apparently owned one. Now here's the interesting thing. Those cars weren't suddenly appearing out of nowhere. They had always been there. I simply started noticing them. Psychologists call this the frequency illusion. Your brain naturally pays attention to whatever it believes is important. And money works exactly the same way. When you constantly focus on financial problems, debt, bills, inflation, and everything that is wrong in your life, your brain becomes trained to spot more problems. But when you start focusing on opportunities, skills, investments, businesses, and solutions, your brain begins noticing opportunities that were always there. The world didn't change. You changed. Listen, let's look at it this way. Imagine two people walk into the same room. One sees obstacles, the other sees opportunities. 5 years later, they live completely different lives. Not because they were smarter, not because they were luckier, but because they trained their minds to look for different things. And that's exactly why many people still feel broke even after getting paid. The paycheck isn't the problem. The mindset behind the paycheck is. Most people increase their income but never upgrade their thinking. As a result, every raise disappears. Every bonus vanishes. Every opportunity gets missed. Today, we're going to uncover 10 powerful differences between how poor people think about money and how wealthy people think about money. These aren't theories. These are patterns repeated by financially successful people around the world. And if you truly understand them, you may never look at money the same way again. My name is Jafel, and I've spent years studying how real wealth is built. If you're serious about achieving financial freedom and creating a life where money works for you, hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. It really helps the channel grow and allows me to create more content like this for you. Now let's dive in. Number 1. The poor live beyond their means. The rich live below them. This is one of the most misunderstood concepts in personal finance. Most people assume rich people spend more because they have more. But what you don't know is that many wealthy people became wealthy precisely because they spent less than they could afford. The average person gets a raise, and immediately upgrades their lifestyle. Bigger apartment, new phone, better car, more subscriptions, expensive dinners. It's called lifestyle inflation, and it's one of the biggest wealth killers in existence. Imagine two people earning $5,000 per month. Person A spends $4,900. Person B spends $3,500. After 1 year, person A has almost nothing left. Person B has saved $18,000. Invest that $18,000 annually at 10% over 20 years, and it grows into hundreds of thousands of dollars. Same income, different thinking, different outcome. The poor ask, what can I afford? The rich ask, should I buy it at all? That's a completely different question. One focuses on consumption. The other focuses on opportunity cost. Every dollar spent today is a worker that can never work for you tomorrow. Think about it. If you spend $1,000 on a luxury item, that money is gone. But if you invest $1,000 at an average annual return of 10%, it could become more than $6,700 over 20 years. The item depreciates. The investment compounds. The wealthy understand this instinctively. This doesn't mean rich people never enjoy life. That's a myth. They simply delay gratification long enough for their assets to pay for their lifestyle. Poor people buy liabilities first and hope wealth follows. Rich people build assets first and let wealth create the lifestyle later. And that's a completely different game. Number 2. Others think about spending. The rich think about investing. Most people see extra money as permission to spend. Rich people see extra money as capital. That's a huge difference. Imagine you receive an unexpected $1,000. The average person immediately starts thinking, what can I buy? The wealthy person asks, how can I make this money produce more money? Notice the difference. One mindset consumes, the other multiplies, and over time, that difference becomes enormous. Let's say two friends each receive $10,000. One spends it on vacations, electronics, clothes, and entertainment. The other invests it into a diversified index fund, earning an average annual return of 10%. After 30 years, that single $10,000 investment becomes more than $170,000. The spender gets memories. The investor gets options. Now, don't misunderstand me. Life is meant to be enjoyed, but wealthy people understand a simple principle. Every dollar has a job. Before spending money, they ask, will this make me richer or poorer? The interesting thing is that rich people don't necessarily invest because they're smarter. They invest because they've trained themselves to think long-term. The poor focus on today's pleasure. The rich focus on tomorrow's freedom. And freedom is expensive. You have to buy it with patience. Number 3. Others live in a waiting mentality. The rich are action-oriented. Let me ask you a question. How many people do you know who say things like, I'm waiting for the perfect time. I'm waiting until the economy improves. I'm waiting until I have enough money. I'm waiting until I'm ready. Here's the problem. The perfect time never arrives. The average person spends years preparing to act. The wealthy spend years acting while learning. That's why they move ahead faster. Now, you might be thinking, but shouldn't I wait until I know more? Of course you should learn. But there's a point where preparation becomes procrastination. Many people read 10 books about investing and never invest. They watch hundreds of business videos and never start a business. They spend years researching opportunities they never pursue. Rich people understand something important. Action creates clarity, not the other way around. You don't learn to swim by reading about swimming. You learn by getting into the water. The same applies to money. Every successful investor made mistakes. Every entrepreneur made mistakes. Every wealthy person made bad decisions at some point. But they moved, and movement creates momentum. The poor wait for certainty. The rich act despite uncertainty. That's why opportunities often seem to find them. Number 4. The poor collect degrees. The rich embrace learning. Now, before anyone gets angry, let me explain. Education is valuable. Degrees are valuable. But a degree and learning are not the same thing. Many people stop learning the moment they leave school. They assume education ended with graduation. The wealthy think differently. They become lifelong students. They study business. They study psychology. They study sales. They study investing. They study communication. Because they understand something powerful. Income rarely exceeds personal growth for long. The person you become determines the income you earn. Listen, let's look at it this way. Imagine two people earning exactly the same salary. One spends 5 years watching random entertainment every evening. The other spends 5 years learning high-income skills. Who do you think has more opportunities? Who gets promoted faster? Who starts businesses? Who negotiates better? The answer is obvious. The wealthy don't collect information. They apply information. Knowledge alone doesn't create wealth. Applied knowledge does. Number 5. Others believe money is earned with labor. The rich understand it is created through thought. This idea sounds controversial, but stay with me. Most people believe income is directly connected to physical effort. The harder you work, the more money you make. Unfortunately, reality doesn't support that belief. Construction workers often work harder physically than CEOs. Farm workers often work harder physically than investors. Yet the income difference can be massive. Why? Because money rewards value, not effort. That's one of the hardest truths to accept. The marketplace doesn't ask how tired you are. It asks how valuable your solution is. A software program can solve a problem for millions of people. A good business idea can create value at scale. A simple invention can generate income for decades. Notice what all these examples have in common. Thought, ideas, solutions, innovation. The rich understand that wealth often begins in the mind before it appears in the bank account. That's why they spend so much time thinking, planning, analyzing, and creating. A single idea can be worth more than thousands of hours of labor, and that's a shift most people never make. Number 6. Others believe hard work creates wealth. The rich understand leverage creates wealth. This may be the most important lesson in this entire video. Hard work matters. Absolutely. But hard work alone is not enough. If hard work alone created wealth, every laborer would be a millionaire. The wealthy understand leverage. Leverage means using systems, technology, investments, businesses, and other people's efforts to multiply results. Think about it. You can only work 24 hours in a day. Actually, much less. But your money can work around the clock. A business can generate revenue while you sleep. Investments can grow while you're on vacation. Content can be watched years after it's created. That's leverage. Without leverage, income is limited by your time. With leverage, income becomes scalable. Poor people trade time for money. Rich people build systems that generate money independent of time. That's why leverage is one of the fastest paths to financial freedom. Number 7. The poor believe money is complicated. The rich understand money is simple. Wall Street wants you to think money is complicated. Financial institutions often benefit when people feel confused, but the truth is surprisingly simple. Spend less than you earn. Invest the difference. Stay consistent. Allow time and compound growth to work. That's it. Now, simple doesn't mean easy. Those are two different things. The challenge isn't understanding money. The challenge is controlling behavior. Everyone knows exercise improves health, yet many people don't exercise. Everyone knows saving helps build wealth, yet many people don't save. Why? Because human psychology often works against long-term success. The wealthy understand that personal finance is mostly personal behavior, not advanced mathematics. The person who consistently invests $300 every month for 20 years will often outperform the person constantly searching for shortcuts. Simple wins. Consistency wins. Patience wins. Number 8. The poor are emotional about money. The rich are logical about money. Let's talk about one of the most expensive financial mistakes people make. Emotional decision-making. Fear, greed, jealousy, pride. These emotions quietly destroy wealth. People panic when markets fall. They buy investments because everyone else is buying. They make purchases to impress people. They keep losing investments because they don't want to admit they were wrong. Emotion drives the decision. Logic never gets a chance. The wealthy train themselves differently. Instead of asking, "How do I feel?" they ask, "What do the numbers say?" That's powerful. Because money doesn't care about feelings. Money responds to decisions. The rich know markets rise and fall. Opportunities come and go. Economic cycles are normal. That's why they focus on data rather than drama. Emotional people react, logical people respond, and over time, that difference becomes wealth. Number 9. Others think money is about status. The rich understand money is about freedom. This might be the biggest lie society ever sold us. Many people want money for appearances, the luxury car, the designer clothes, the expensive watch, the social media image. But here's the question. What happens when the attention disappears? The wealthy understand that money's greatest value isn't status, it's freedom. Freedom to choose where you live. Freedom to choose how you spend your time. Freedom to say no. Freedom to spend time with family. Freedom to pursue meaningful work. Freedom to sleep peacefully. A person driving a modest car with no debt may be financially freer than someone driving a luxury car financed by massive monthly payments. The interesting thing is that true wealth is often invisible. You can't always see investments. You can't always see cash reserves. You can't always see ownership. That's why some of the wealthiest people appear surprisingly ordinary. They are buying freedom, not attention. And freedom lasts much longer than applause. Number 10. Others are cynical. The rich are optimistic. This final shift ties everything together. Poor thinking often sounds like this. The system is rigged. Nothing works. Nobody gets ahead. Success is just luck. Now, are there obstacles in life? Absolutely. But wealthy people focus on what they can control. That's optimism, not blind positivity, not pretending problems don't exist, but believing solutions exist. Cynicism feels intelligent. Optimism creates results. The cynical person sees obstacles and stops. The optimistic person sees obstacles and adapts. One stays stuck, the other moves forward. History is full of people who built wealth during recessions, economic downturns, and difficult circumstances. Why? Because they focused on possibilities while everyone else focused on limitations. Your mindset doesn't guarantee success, but a negative mindset almost guarantees failure. Now here's what I want you to understand. You do not need millions of dollars to start thinking like a wealthy person. Every wealthy person was once unknown. Every investor started with their first dollar. Every successful entrepreneur started with their first idea. The habits that build wealth are available to anyone willing to adopt them. And the sooner you begin, the greater the impact compound growth can have on your future. Remember, you don't become wealthy because you have money. You become wealthy because you've developed the mindset and behaviors that attract money. Change your thinking. Change your future. And eventually, you may be shocked at how much your financial reality changes. If you enjoyed this video, hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. And in the comments below, tell me, which of these 10 mindset shifts challenged you the most? I'd love to hear your answer. Until next time, keep learning, keep growing, and keep building a life where money works for you instead of you working for money. Cheers.